Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining this month's Tech Talk. Um, we're going to be diving into an essential topic. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be defining the roadmap for C++ migrations projects. We get a lot of calls on this, folks. I'm Joe Rafanelli. Been doing these Tech Talks for a bit at this point. Maybe folks know me. Director of Technical Solutions at Microsoft. We are a company that's dedicated to delivering tailored software solutions and help businesses transform their legacy systems to cutting-edge platforms seamlessly. Joining me here today, I think you guys have all seen him as well, is Imran Salahuddin. He is our VP of Migration Services. And together, we're going to dive into this important topic with our experience, and you guys know what's happening with clients and things of that nature, strategies. As we typically do, we're going to be going. I have my questions for Imran, and he'll go through his expertise. And at the end, we'll get some questions through the chat. We'll make this as interactive as possible. I'll let Imran take a second to introduce himself, and then we'll dive right into it. Thank you again, Imran, for joining.
Hello, everyone, and it's really nice to have all of you here. It's another migration hack talk in which we are going to discuss C++. Like other migration projects, it's always hard to start something and plan something, but the tool that we are going to discuss today, let's really make it easy to and tell you the starting point and the plan, the overall project. And in this tech talk, we'll discuss in detail about
Perfect. I know you're excited to get in started. So I always start off with the most basic question, right? So why do companies want to migrate their C++ applications?
This is really a great question. C++ is serving the community and the world since long, like 3 decades, right? A lot of applications are being developed. A lot of code processes they are running perfectly. But of course, age is one thing that you cannot deny, and the the modern technology, which is coming, it's coming with the more challenges as well. So the maintenance is the first challenge. How to maintain this C++ program, because the skills shortage is there. No more new people are learning C++ and ready to work on C++. So the resources that we currently have, they are there to provide the support and all those things, but they are decreasing. Another thing is we have the modern languages which supports the modern platforms, stacks, cloud, and the web compatibility. They are talking to the APIs more easily and effectively than the legacy languages like C++. So now it is imperative. Security and compliance is always the big risk to any company, any program. C++ provides good secure coding, but now the modern challenges, it's lacking something, and the modern languages are much more efficient than C++. So again, it's required to migrate any legacy code in the new modern languages. Integration with the modern system is also required. Every day we keep coming up with the new application, which are usually the API based, and some different requirements of the communication and ingestion. So this is also one of the things. The REST APIs are here, GraphQL, cloud storage, and all those things are here. So that the new modern languages are working more better than the C++. And at the end, it all comes to the high operational costs. So the operational costs is getting higher because of the resources and because of the old system. So these are the challenges that the companies are facing, and they are planning to migrate from C++ to any new modern language platform.
Those are some big hitter explanations, right? I mean, security alone, everybody needs your applications to be secure. And you had said it right from when you started, it's very old, right? Technology is continuously changing, and companies have got to get on board with those changes. So thanks for scoping that out for us. Okay. My next question: why is migrating C++ applications such a major challenges for companies?
So C++ applications are written long ago, and since then The development teams keep updating them, adding new modules to it, adding new business rules to it. So it's a work. It's a big work basically that the development teams have piled up in the last 2 or 3 decades, right? And very less documentation. It's always the case that the documentation is not proper. Another thing is the applications developed 3 decades ago are not based on the modern architectural principles. So, and another thing is these applications are like monolithic applications, and outdated libraries are there, which are no more supported. All become a risk. And now the companies feel it's challenge to gather all those applications at one place to see how many applications we need to migrate, then how much the code is, because there's a lot of programs running in different environments, in different machines, on different servers, and sometimes the companies just don't have the inventory that okay, if we plan to migrate, but what programs, what are their effects, right? And how much and how long they will take to migrate, what is the risk coming with it. So these are the challenges that companies are facing, but taking time to make a decision. And that's where our tool CodeMatrix come, that with that we can exactly tell that how big this application is and how much effort is required, and that help companies plan this migration.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, a lot of companies don't really even have the time to dive into a migration, and going with a company that understands and's been past those challenges, it would definitely be a plus for any company. All right, so you mentioned CodeMatrix, and I know that's the main reason why we're on the phone right now. Why don't you just tell us exactly what it does?
So CodeMatrix is a very lightweight tool. It's free. It is hosted on our website, migrate2.net, and it performs static code analysis of any C++ source code. Clients can download it as free, install it on their desktop, locate the folder where the source code is, and just execute it. It generates some valuable reports that help, of course, the client to understand how big their application is, but help us. Without seeing the code, we can estimate how much the effort is and how much it's going to cost and how long it will take to migrate those things. It gives us the total lines of code, how many source code files, which type of files are there, what are the lines of code, what are the pure lines of code other than the blank lines of code, how the control structures are, different aspects which we consider in the estimation purpose, which defines the complexity of the code. It gives us the libraries that are used. So we need to, it helps us find that, okay, what kind of function it's performing, what kind of integration it requires. Then the dependencies also, the program and modules dependent on each other. And these are the critical insight that it gives us just by reviewing the code and providing us the statistics. So that's something it provides. And it gathers the header files as well, which provide us very valuable insight of the application, that what kind of challenges we gonna face by doing this migration, or either the alternate of those libraries are available or not, or we need to write a new libraries or find the alternate ones. And if there are some completely obsolete libraries, then what will have to be planned. So this the reports give us very valuable insight for our estimation purpose.
I agree. It's a really powerful tool. I know we've been using it for years, and clients have been using it as well. The thing that comes to mind is a lot of these applications grow over time, right? It could be 10, 20, 30 years, right? And then what this tool will help really summarize what you've done over the years and figure out, okay, what do you need to move forward? Because a lot of modules, may not even be needed anymore, but it helps to kind of go through all that and understand, like you said, the size of your application and what you're looking at when you're doing a migration. So I totally agree there. Okay, I want to go to the next question. Does CodeMatrix require any special system configuration or access rights to run it?
No special setup is required. It's a standalone executable that runs locally on the developer's machine.
Okay.
We designed it with the data security in mind, and it doesn't send any data over the internet. It generates reports in the form of Excel. It does not require any admin rights thing. It just need access to your documents folder where it can place those generated reports. You can review those reports, and if the clients want, they can share with us. So this tool is very secure, safe. It does not take information anywhere unless the client wants.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's a pretty impressive output that we see from the tool. Very concise. Um, so once the client runs the tool and shares the report, what happens next?
So this is very important to understand, right? So the clients come up with their project, right, their application, but they don't not necessarily want to share the code with us or with any other developer, right? They want to know the basic question that because of the budgeting purpose or because of the planning purpose, they need to know that it is doable, first thing, or not. Second thing is how long it gonna take and how much it gonna cost. So the code matrix is the very first step where the client run it, find out the reports, send it to us. Now what we do, we review the code. We have the C++ analyst experts, and we have our own migration experts that are very proficient in migrating any legacy application to the modern platform. On top of that, we have our own costing model. So we feed those reports and numbers to our model, which generates an estimate for the migration effort plus the timeline. Timelines are required based on the number of resources we are going to use, and it is also based how the code is structured, how many program files are there, how many classes are there, and the length of the whole program. So we, based on our expert judgment, we define that how many resources are required, which defines the overall length of the project. Plus, we see the how many libraries are used, and if there are any consideration for any third party libraries or controls, we of course discuss with the client and find the alternates. And that effort we can foresee of R&D and finding the new alternates and implementing it, that we all add it to the cost, and we share this cost with the client, which helps them prepare their business case or the plan for the migration project. Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. It's not only a tool to find out data, it also fosters a really good conversation, for the prospect board, if you will, to get information and to see if they want to move forward with new technology. So it, like you said, it's very, very powerful. Okay. Can you share how CodeMatrix improves the accuracy of cost and time estimation for migrations?
Absolutely. So the code metrics provide granular details, such as the control flow complexity, external dependencies, lines of code, the groupings, um, something, some statements, some logics that are used in the C++ programming thing that defines the complexity of the code. And we, based on our expert judgment and experience, we define the factors for the effort, and that's how it minimize the risks of going beyond your expectation or your estimation. So this helps a lot, this insight helps a lot to provide an accurate estimate.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. Do clients ever come back surprised by how different their code base looks on paper versus what they assumed?
It's all the time. So since, as I mentioned earlier, the C++ programs were developed over the time, the programmers are keep adding new code to it, modifying it. There are some unused code. There are some code that was obsolete, modules that were obsolete, but they are still there in the whole package. And when we count the lines of code and the programs and inventory and put in front of the client, this, they very much amazed that this is the, I mean, this is how much we already have developed and which is there. and they found something like an eye opener. Now we need to review this code base. Okay, what we need, what we don't need, and how much it is written. So how will be the migration looks like? So that always surprise our clients. Um, Very few people they know how to find out the lines of code and other things. So they are not surprised, but most of them, yes, they are.
Yeah, I've been on several of those conversations. It is definitely eye-opening. So at this point, why don't we walk the folks through typical steps in a full migration using our approach?
Okay, so I can give you the an high level overview of a legacy migration project, how the whole project looks like. The challenge always is before understanding the code, the business logics, how we can define or how we can plan that project, right? So the base thing is the estimation of the effort and defining the project plan based on what the code high level components are. This is what we do. We start with the code matrix. It provides us that insight which help us defining a high level project plan, and then we go in the assessment and detail assessment and planning, in which we are talking to the client. Our experts are reviewing the code, we are getting the demonstrations, we are talking on the obsolete the portions or the portions of the program that can be retired, right, and the new modules that are required, and the logic change wherever it is required, and the integration requires that requires some assessment, and we define it, and it depending on the project size, it can go from 1 month to 2 months, but it gives us very valuable insights. Then migration execution, we put together the team who are proficient in understanding the C++ code. On top of that, we have our tools that can migrate using the artificial intelligence. We have code auto tool and some other tools, and our processes that provide us the starting point to our developers. So that makes this migration, actual migration, very fast. Testing and validation is there. So during the analysis, our QA teams understand the legacy application, write the test cases, gather all the input data and expected output data. And once the migrated modules are available for the testing, they execute the testing. And the final thing is the deployment. We release it to the client, let them test it, perform the UAT. Once they accept it, they deploy it on their production environment. Either they are supporting it or they ask us to support their application. That's how the high level project look like.
Yeah, I'm sure folks are very interested in understanding, those steps, and everything you just mentioned. Again, depending on how big the application is, could take anywhere from 6 months to 9 months, just to get through everything. It's something that takes a lot of precision. I know it's a lot of project management work as well, understanding, the application, understanding what folks are doing on our side, and it does take a lot of planning. So lots of time and effort go into any migration that we do. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the risk. What are the major risks involved in C++ migrations, and how does our team address them?
So some risks include breaking business logic. Since it's a lot of business logic and business root implemented, and when we are migrating, and so the chances are there that the logic will be broken. Another thing is the incompatibility with the third party dependencies. So as I mentioned earlier, CodeMatrix gave us good insight about those dependencies, so we already prepared for it. But as a risk factor in the software industry, it is always the case when we actually integrate or use that third party thing, things are not working. So that is one challenge that we overcome by planning for it earlier in the game. uh, Other thing is the testing, basically. So what we do is, basically, we don't go completely waterfall, we go agile. We identify the modules that can be developed and delivered separately. We do test them separately, we deliver it separately, we schedule meetings with the client and the stakeholders to, of course, share the details about the project and show the progress that the running modules. So anything that is coming up require a quick decision, we do that quick decision and we demonstrates it. Any questions that ask, that's how it goes very hand to hand with the client and smoothly. And that's how we lower down the chances of any risk which can delay the project. Yes.
Very well said. I think any projects has their risks and has their challenges, but partner with the right company that's been through those risks and challenges makes all the difference in the world. So it's nice to know that we've already been down that road and already crossed those bridges, and we can share that knowledge, you know, with future projects. So I know we're a company that keeps, we don't rest on our laurels, right? Whenever we have something, we're constantly trying to make things better, especially with our tools. It sort of leads me into my next question. So we're talking about CodeMatrix, but maybe we can say a little bit about any upcoming features that we're planning for CodeMatrix.
Yes, the next version will be equipped with the AI-based analysis.
Mm,
Artificial intelligence is playing a really super and magical role. So we are adding the AI-based analysis to the code matrix, and once it's done, the next version will provide more valuable insight in the plain language that a business person can understand easily how their code looks like, and what other factors that they need to consider, how important they are in the planning phase. So yes, the next version will be equipped with the AI.
yeah, that's exciting stuff. All right, so we've been talking about CodeMatrix, obviously pretty much the whole time. Why don't we just show a demo? The demo will probably answer 1,000 questions. So
So
let's go into a demo.
right, Joe. So I will pull up some screenshots that I put together,
All right.
and will them go through that. Okay. So, web quote matrix can be downloaded from our website migrate to .NET. You can see the URL there, and you can see it's not only C++. So, since Microsoft specialized in the migrations, so you can see the all the other content about the migration from other legacy languages and platforms also. And in there between, you can see the C++ code matrix. That's the link. You can click it. It will provide you more details about it. If you want to download, you can click and download that tool. So what clients do, they go there. It's free tool. You just go and download it and execute it. There is an installer comes with it. It installs this application. So if we go to the next slide, it will show how the code matrix look like. So that's the code matrix for C++. You can see there are some options there, VB6, ASP, Angular, JS, General. So you need to select the C++ so that it can focus on the C++ project and analyze the code according to the C++ coding style. Then the next section is it just required to locate the project folder wherever your source code is. Locate that, and you need to just give it a report title which can come on top of the report, and click the button start analysis. As soon you click it, it start analyzing the code one by one and collecting the information and the valuable insight that we need for our purpose. It gives a log as well. Once it's done, it show you a message that okay, it's done, and then you can click the view result button, which will let you see the report. So the first report that we are seeing is the summary report that code matrix generate. You can see at the left side, it lists down all the different type of code files that it find in that folder with their extension, number of files, how many pure lines of code. This is very important information. How many pure lines of code. You can see in the next column there are comments as well. So comments are very important, but they will not be migrated. So we only consider in our estimation the pure lines of code. There are blank lines as well, and how many the total lines there, and what is the size. And you can see all different kind of files it listed down here. So this helps us find not only the C++ code files, but what other languages files are there. And on the basis of that, we can ask client, we found this files are also there. Are you using it? If they say yes, we are using it, then we continue our discussion based on that as well. So this is the summary report. Next, we will go to the detailed report. Now, the detailed report, what it does is basically it lists down the statistics for each of the file. If it has 10,000 files in it, it lists all. So it This report help us find how the files look like. Maybe you can find, okay, the duplicate files are there. It also gives us the duplication indication, true or false, that we count it or not. We just not count everything what is reported here. Yes, we count logically. I mean, if something is duplicate, we don't count it twice. But if something is duplicate in different folders, we see how the difference, the lines of code or what. On the basis of that, we count those things. Apart from the pure lines of code, blank and comment lines, you can see it is giving us more better insight of the code, like the classes and the pointers. These factors are very important for us to understand the complexity of the code. And when we go to the next slide, it will show us how. So you can see the extension, it identifies what type of file it is. We can filter it down in the code matrix report, what language it is, pure lines of code are how many the comment lines of code. And comment lines of code is, we don't migrate, but they are very important to know how well the code is documented, because sometimes we don't find a single comment in the whole block of the code. It's hard to understand what it is. Then it leaves on the C++ analyst to understand it completely. So the blank lines are also, we counted. And the duplicate file, as I said, the class, it provide us that how the class, how the program is designed. Basically, it is simplifying the code based on the object oriented principles. uh, Pointers, C++ use the pointers, how the memory management is done. Sometimes it become a red flag to us that how it is managed. So this is a risk how we are implementing in the new platform, the new language. That also gives us a very good insight. um, Total functions also help us estimate that how many functions are there, because when we break the code into different modules and units to follow and track, it is really helpful. So multi-threading also give us very good insight how the multi-threads are basically used in this application, and what will be the requirement of the performance of the application, how it is handling the files. And now if it is too much dependent on the local storage file or the network files, this helps us come up with a lot of questions for the client, that how the application being used and how it will be deployed in the new platform. Header files always give us very good insight that uh, what kind of dependencies are there, so it helps us prepare early in the game. So uh, we already have a model that defines the complexity scores based on different code aspects in the file. So it gives the complexity score. This is our own formula that give us, and it help us estimate the effort. Long functions, how many long functions are there? Long functions are sometimes they are uh, including a lot of different logics there which can be decoupled. So this also helps us. Poor naming conventions are there. um, and this is something in the migration practice, we try to keep the name similar to the legacy code to keep compatibility with the old code. I mean, if you're reading it, but this also gives us, the good insight about it. Go to count and global variables is another valuable factor that it gives us. So this is the main detailed report that we always consider when we are finding. Apart from it, as I mentioned to you, the header files, it lists down. If you go to the next slide, it lists down those header files are there, and these header files, we need to see that, okay, what exactly these header files are doing there, what are necessary, what are not necessary, what equivalents are there and are not there. So this is also very important information for us. So that's the code matrix tool that we discussed about, and that's the valuable insight it is giving.
Yeah, that was really insightful. Appreciate you putting it all together, especially that last part where you say what really goes into the estimation. Um, where you say a picture says 1,000 words, right? So that did say a lot. Everything that goes into estimating a project, you basically pointed out in those couple of slides. So it does a lot, Code Matrix. I think everybody at this point got that point. So I appreciate that. Appreciate putting that stuff together for the audience. Okay, I'm going to shift to the audience questions. Let's see what we have when it comes to the audience. Okay, here we go. What's the typical time frame for a C++ to Java migration project? Imran, I'll take this one. Okay, so the easy answer is it depends, right? It depends on the size and the complexity of your application. So if you have, let's say, 75 to 100,000 lines of code, you're looking at like maybe 6 to 9 months worth of work project. And obviously, you'd have a PM, you'd have a couple of QAs, maybe 3 or 4 developers, right? That would be assigned to the project, and then like Imran said, we would use our tools and we would get it done as quickly and with quality as possible. But folks would know every step of the way where the project stands. But again, the easy answer is between 6 to 9 months for about 100,000 lines of code. Next question. Okay. Once the CodeMatrix report is downloaded and forwarded, what's the next step in getting a quote? Okay, so yeah, there are definitely next steps, right? So we would get the CodeMatrix. We'd ask a few questions like what's some of the modules that you no longer require. Like I was saying before, these modules or these applications run or get built over several years, say 10, 20, 30 years. So a lot of times what will happen is a lot of modules will no longer be used. And when you're running the CodeMatrix, it may pick up, unless you've deleted those modules, CodeMatrix will pick that up. So what we ask is, is there a percentage that you're no longer using as far as modules? Also, we ask for a percentage that you're no longer using for reports. If it's all the same, then obviously we'd give a quote on the whole thing. The other thing I want to mention is we need to know what we are quoting, right? We want to see the application demo. We want to see those screens that are most complex. We want to take a look at a few of those reports just to get an idea about what we're looking at in terms of not only the size, but the complexity, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Hopefully that makes sense for everybody. Okay. Next question. What type of support do you offer if there are issues running the CodeMatrix tool? Yeah, good question. It does happen. Some folks get a little stuck. So typically I would get a ping or an email saying, listen, I'm having some trouble. There'll be a screen print of what the trouble is. Then what we do is we'll pull in our expert, have a quick call and help run that report. And then, we'll see exactly what the problem is and we'll fix the problem right away. It's, again, it doesn't happen that often, but it does happen. Okay, anything else? Those are all good questions, by the way. Okay, we're going to close the session. Obviously, I want to thank Imran Salahuddin for helping us out, all those details, putting together all that plan so everybody can understand it. Hopefully, folks got something out of it. I know I did, everybody. So what I want to say is we do the migrations, we do them all the time. We have over 20 years experience. So if there is a situation where you do need a migration services quote, go ahead and give us a call. We'll run you through the steps and we'll show our expertise, get you to feel comfortable with us. And, maybe we could do some business together. You see my email. I'm sorry. You see the slide there. That's my contact information. Any other questions, or comments, let us know. But for now, I want to say goodbye. Once again, thank you to Imran. And once again, thank you for the audience for your participation. Okay. Take care now. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.